Did you know you can sponsor your favorite podcast on the Spin Market Podcast Network? Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Stockdale, host of the Spin Market Report. In the past year, our podcasts have had over 20,000 total streams, and our YouTube channels have had over 1 million views. Whether you're promoting a product, service, or event, we'll help you reach the audience that matters. Get more information on how to sponsor a podcast at spinmarketwith2ks.com. Spin Market. Your business, your message, our platform.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right, we are back. It's the Spin Market Report. And as you know from the wide camera shot, there's no Cheryl in the office. She's off doing some business, so I'm going to be taking over the podcast for the day. I'm sitting down with Josh, Chelsea, and Mike. You guys all work at Kingsgate Insurance, which is actually our neighbor. It's right next door. How was the trip over here? Was it a long walk?
It was awful.
I guess it's sprinkling out a little bit, so you never know. It's getting to be that October time of year around here when that's as we're recording this. But let's talk about you guys. Can we talk about maybe how you guys all got started in the insurance industry and maybe your journey to Kingsgate? You can kind of go one by one if you'd like.
I followed my dad into the industry.
Okay.
It took me a while. Started a lot of different professions, and then was getting married, having a family, and decided to get into it and follow his footsteps.
Oh, cool.
And that was at Calvert and Johnson in town.
Okay.
And we just recently joined with Kingsgate in July.
Oh, cool.
2025.
Nice.
So,
How about you?
I moved to Fort Dodge in 2014 with my now husband. And I started as a receptionist thinking this would be a part-time gig. I'm going to do this until I can find something I want to stick with. And then 10 years later, I'm still here. So
That's usually how it works.
yeah. And I love it.
All right, Mike.
Well, I graduated from college in 93, and my dad was in insurance, and I swore I'd never be in insurance. And the only job I could get when I graduated was a personal lines adjuster in Omaha. And so I started as personal lines adjuster, moved to commercial adjusting, and in 99, Bob Singer called and asked if I wanted to move back here. And at the time, I called it move to the dark side, which is the agency side. And so I did. In 99, I bought into Calvert Johnson. It was actually Calvert, Singer, and Kelly at the time in 2002. And so I started then with Josh's dad. I was partnered with him, and then I became partner with Josh, and then we moved to Kingsgate in July of this year.
Nice. You had mentioned, this is me because I don't know too much. You mentioned the agency side. What's the difference?
Well, I was on the company side when I was an adjuster.
Okay.
So I worked for the insurance companies from 93 to 99 when I was an adjuster, and then the dark side was coming to the agency side, which is what all the company people called it.
That's funny.
Moving to the dark side.
You got your guys' own little inside jokes. It's
Yep.
pretty fun. That's
Yep.
pretty fun. Have your guys' perspective on insurance changed over time? You guys all have a decent amount of experience with insurance over the years. Has anything changed where you're just you look at it differently maybe than when you first went into it?
I've been in it 20 years, and it's definitely changed. A lot of the coverages are still the same. The industry, as far as deductibles, everything's changing. Climate's changing. It's a different ballpark now than it was 20 years ago. I know Mike's got a lot more years on me. It's not a shot, but in my 20 years, it's definitely changed.
All right. Chelsea?
Yeah, coming from 10 years ago, the only thing I knew about insurance is what I bought myself, was just for my car. And now being on the back end of it and seeing how insurance companies come up with these numbers they charge and all the different options you have, and it's not as simple as one might think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of value of having an independent agent versus buying it yourself online.
Oh, okay. All right. Mike?
I'd say the biggest change probably is the premium.
Okay.
The rates are just unbelievably different, and that's probably even changed a lot in the last 5 years. The amount of storms, catastrophes all over the world, and even in the United States, is just skyrocketing. They might call it global warming, whatever they want to call it, but the frequency and severity of storms is just skyrocketed, which affects premium. And, people might not like it, but storms in Florida and California affect rates in Iowa.
Yeah.
And that's tough pill to swallow for our insureds, but that's the way it goes.
Is that because insurance is like a pool? Everybody kind of is in the same.
I mean, it does. I mean, it affects the rates because of the construction. I mean, if you have a replacement cost in your house and you have a loss here, a big loss here, and you have to replace all the wood in your house, and they just had a hurricane in Florida, well, that's going to affect how much it's going to be on a replacement cost of your house here. Okay. So that's one big reason. But you also have the big national insurance companies that take hits in those states, and when that happens, they got to pay for those losses somehow. So Iowa and the Midwest gets dragged into that process, and so our rates go up here because of losses there, and that's just unfortunate byproduct of those losses. You
brought up a good point. I didn't even think about it. Like, even if it's not directly associated with the insurance, it's like if the lumber is being used somewhere else, it's that supply and demand, and now if you need it, now it's going to cost a little bit more to get it because it's being demanded somewhere else. Okay, I never really even thought about it that way. So that's really good. How about working in insurance? What keeps you guys motivated every day to work in insurance? I mean, it might be kind of a weird thing to ask, but
I would say the conversations where the customer's leaving your office saving money, that is such a good feeling. Or walking away knowing this person is protected in case something bad happens, right? That's what keeps me motivated, is the good conversations like that.
That makes sense, because I mean, as you were talking about the replacement cost of things, it's not like people can just out of pocket pay for a whole new roof on their house. It's just not common for people to be able to do that. Or even you think about most possessions people insure, it's like those are big possessions. You might not be able to go out and get a whole brand new car or whatever kind of insurance, people are kind of like looking for these days. But yeah, I guess I never really even thought about that way either. How about you guys? What keeps you motivated?
Big satisfaction for me is when the insured has a loss, whether it's on their home or their autos, and you take care of them. And I mean, it's really helping them in a time of need. That's kind of the backbone of insurance. That's what people pay for ultimately, is they pay for our help when they're at their lowest. Basically, big fire, a big total loss on an auto, something like that. And when you can help them and get them back whole again, that's a big motivating factor for us.
All right. Josh, kind of silent on this front. What do you think?
No, and it goes back to what Mike said. And it was 17, 18 years ago, I walked into my first house fire with Mike. And just that, seeing them down and out and getting them back whole kind of drives me every day.
All right.
And just knowing what you're doing, do it correctly, and you can get them back together. Yes, you have to pay a premium, but there's something there on the side if something sudden happens for you.
I will say that there was an instance where I had gotten in a car accident, and the insurance policy I had helped me out. And I guess I can really see that, where like at the time I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's not like I can't afford another car, but I don't want to spend all my money to buy another car. And it actually helped me out quite a bit. It's that peace of mind that kind of comes along with that. You're never thinking you're going to get in an accident, or there's never going to be a house fire. There's never going to be any of this stuff. But when it happens, it's pretty jarring, honestly.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys work next door over at Kingsgate Insurance. For those that don't know, can you give us an overview of what you guys do over there at Kingsgate?
I'm going to give that to Chelsea, excuse me.
So Kingsgate Insurance, we do a little bit of everything. So we have a benefits department, personal insurance, commercial, and farm. And I've got experience both in personal and farm, but I head up the ag department. So I work with farmers and even people with acreages that have some outbuildings or maybe some hobby animals too. And I work with them to make sure that they have the options to choose what insurance they'd like to buy and give them the best ones out there on the market.
How long has Kingsgate been in Fort Dodge? Do you know that?
35 years. We just celebrated this year.
Very cool. Was that your guys' street party that you guys had out here? That's super cool.
Yeah.
I think companies downtown should do a little bit more of that. I mean, we did the Buster's Bash thing 2 years in a row now, but it's neat to see other companies doing things like that.
Yeah, that gave us the idea, honestly, is we had a booth at your Buster's Bash and had a good time. And I thought, we need more of this. Agreed.
Awesome. How well attended was that event?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we saw a lot of faces that I haven't seen those customers in person in years. So it was wonderful.
That's super cool. How does Kingsgate differentiate itself from the other insurance companies? Maybe whether it be locally or semi-locally, could be throughout the state or elsewhere in the country.
I'd say we pride ourselves on knowing what's up and coming. So knowing, okay, being less reactive of just, okay, I've got a renewal increase. Now I need to figure out what I can do differently to spend less or get within my budget. Whereas we're more aware of, okay, we can see that this company is going to be experiencing a rate revision here, 6 months from now, even. Sometimes we can see that far out and really look at those accounts ahead of time and be better prepared for those calls of, what are my options? My price is going up. So just being aware of the whole market in that sense, and then also any up and coming coverages that are new. I know inland flood is a new endorsement in some of the homeowners policies that's out there, and it's only offered by a couple companies at this point, but just being that person that's saying, hey, just a heads up, this is something that's optional. You can add on to your homeowners, and this is what it does, and this is what it costs. Giving the consumer the option. It's their choice of whether they want to add it or not, but letting them know it's there.
Okay. I believe you said you've been there about 10 years at Kingsgate. What are some of the biggest changes that have happened over those last 10 years? I mean, I'd love to ask Josh and Mike the same question, but you guys haven't been there quite as long. But what are some of the biggest changes over at Kingsgate?
Well, when I started, there was, I think, 8 of us in an office that was over in the Kingsgate Center. And then shortly after I started, we moved downtown into the office we're at now. And now we have over 23. So in 10 years, we've, over doubled our staffing. So it's been wonderful in the sense that we've been able to kind of delegate everyone's jobs into these different departments. You can get really good and focus on what your type of insurance that you're assisting with. And you have a team. We're all one big team, but we also have our smaller teams too that can help each other out.
That's awesome. Yeah, your guys' office next door. I've only hopped in the office there a couple times just to kind of like talk to some people that were in there, but nice looking office. It's really kind of cool looking down there. You don't think you're going to walk into a building and see it look that modern on the inside. It's really kind of neat. So if you guys haven't been there, if you're looking for insurance, maybe just pop in and say hi. You never know. It's a real cool building. Okay, so Josh and Mike, you've been in the insurance industry for a while. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the insurance industry today, maybe compared to when you guys first started?
I think for the agent, it's underwriting. I think underwriting is just getting out of hand. Basically, what we're talking about is the way the companies look at what we send them as far as clients and the way they look at the clients and rate them accordingly. Like right now, it's incredibly hard. And one of the big thing is age of roofs. I mean, if your roof is over 10 years old, it's really hard to get you insurance, basically. There's a lot of companies out there that won't even insure a house that's 10 years or older on a roof.
And that's because it'll probably need to be replaced fairly soon.
Right. And in Iowa, we have so many storms now that it's almost a guarantee to get a hailstorm every summer. So they're looking at it as, okay, if that thing's 10 years or older, it's pretty brittle. We're going to guarantee that we're going to replace that roof. So the underwriting has changed incredibly, and it's really hard nowadays to get insurance on houses. Mm-hmm. And if you can, it's incredibly expensive. And then trying to get that across to people that, we've seen rate increases the last 3 or 4 years. It's not uncommon for 30, 40%.
Yeah.
Every year, back-to-back years of 30, 40% of rate hike. And it's just hard to tell, to tell people over year to year that it's going up again that much, and we quote everybody with 5, 6 companies, and it still is going up that much.
Okay, so this is something where like you're not just being like, this is your rate and this is what you get. You're going through company by company and being like, this is going to be the best option that you have. But it still comes down to that storm patterns changing, supply and demand. Yep. Elsewhere in the United States could create that demand that could make a shortage here, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay, all right. The fun thing about this is like I used to be an underwriter for home mortgages. So like I do have a little bit of experience with the underwriting process. Yep. Very cumbersome. You're not just like looking at a couple pieces of paper and being like, that's a good guess. You're going through and doing a big risk evaluation on literally everything. And has technology helped you guys how you do that? Because I'm assuming you guys have been there long enough where you were doing it on paper correct?
Oh yeah.
We used to have binders for
Oh, yeah.
this stuff. Okay. So how has technology changed for you guys to help you do your jobs a little bit easier?
It's definitely helped, and we're learning a lot more of that side after joining Kingsgate, using more of the technology. I wouldn't say we were stuck in the 80s, but we relied a lot on paper and open communication with our, phone calls to our underwriters. Now it's a lot of email and a lot of quick underwriting other than waiting for that. You're underwriting yourself. You're going to Google Maps. You're looking at the roofs, make sure it's done. Technology is definitely helping, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon.
I didn't even think of that with like Google Maps and things like that. You no longer have to drive out to somewhere to look at it physically with your eyes every single time. It could be an instance where that could help you out quite a bit.
Yeah, when I started, we went out to every single house and took pictures on every side of the house and the roof, and then emailed those to the underwriter and waited for their response.
Wow.
With a tape measure.
Yeah.
We used to have to use a tape measure and draw it out.
Yep, and a Kodak thing that we plugged into it was different.
We had Polaroids when I started. Yeah, you guys laugh. I'm old.
That's awesome. That's so fun. How about misconceptions on the insurance industry? Are there any misconceptions you like hear over and over again, or you see online, or it's just the way people, convey how they're feeling? What are the misconceptions, and maybe how can you dispel some of them?
Kingsgate Insurance is an independent agent. So we are the go-between to help the consumer find the best insurance company.
So that's what Mike was talking about then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we represent, 10, 20, 30 different insurance companies within all those different, benefits, personal, commercial, and farm. And it's our job to know what each of them are doing to the best of our ability, to know when someone tells us what their situation is, we can pair them with the best option.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we do. And so it's kind of confusing when we talk about insurance companies and consumer. We're the go-between, essentially, between the two.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay, so that's good information, because it's not like you're going to ABC Insurance Company and this is all we have to offer.
Right.
This is like what you were talking about, where we can give you different options. Maybe somebody pairs better with somebody else than they might with a different company.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
Mike, got any little misconceptions that you hear frequently that you want to dispel?
I would say probably the biggest misconception is the fact that we don't set rate like Josh was talking about. And believe it or not, the insurance agent doesn't keep all the premium money.
Okay. All right.
That we get a very small percentage of that. And what Chelsea was talking about on the independent agent side, we're a conduit from those companies to the consumer, as opposed to there's direct writers, and that's like State Farm, American Family. Those agents do a great job, but they only write for that one specific company.
Okay.
Like State Farm agents write for only State Farm.
Okay.
And American Family write for only American Family. We, as opposed to that, we can write for any of the companies that we have, that we have contracts with.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm sure it's got to be cumbersome trying to keep track of what every company's doing then too, right?
It is.
It's only become more complicated too,
Right.
as things have changed. They're changing a lot more frequently now than they were even 5 years ago. I mean, I would say since COVID, it's just been insane.
Yeah. Things have been pretty wild since COVID.
Yes.
And a lot of companies will have their niche, a higher value home. You can narrow it down to 3 or 4.
Right.
A newer roof, or if somebody's over, or the couple's over 55, or if on the other side of that, somebody with a bad driving record, you got a Progressive or Dairyland or somebody that you can go to. Mm-hmm. You start to feel out that process the longer you're in the industry of where that might fit.
Wow, it's got to be so much easier than just going on the internet and trying to myself cruise through 30 different companies and be like, which one fits the best for, or trying to reach out to everyone, give me a quote, I guess, and we'll see and try and figure it out.
Yep. And that misconception too is you get people that come in sometimes, I need the lowest rate you can possibly give me state limits. If you get state limits like on an auto and you hit one of these brand new $80,000 vehicles, you don't have enough coverage, and that's going to come out of your pocket.
Oof.
And that's one of the things I see is how many younger kids are actually quoting online and doing it themselves on their phone, and don't want to make that phone call. but they might not have the coverage that they need.
Ooh, that's a good point. That makes me wonder about how many things I'm going through that, like, you get on the phone, you're like, I can just do it on the phone. And like, how many times are there better options than what I'm just doing? It's that convenience, I think, is what's getting a lot of people, and they don't look far enough ahead to see what might happen down the road.
And you don't know what you don't know, right?
Very true.
Yeah. You don't know unless someone tells you that.
Exactly. We had talked about how the insurance industry has changed up until now and how it's changed even more rapidly, possibly in the last 5 years. What about the next 5 to 10 years? Do you guys have any guesses as to what's going to be coming down the line in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, you talked about technology and then talking about quoting insurance and reviewing options. And there's a lot of talk about AI right now. And Donovan Day in our office, he had attended an event that spoke more on that. So it sounds like there's a lot of ideas out there and products coming to us, which on the consumer end, they would just see quicker results from us or carriers online that are doing quoting, in that they can gather your data more efficiently and quickly and getting those quotes back and eligibility back and things like that. So
okay,
could see more of that happening.
That's awesome. Another plug for AI, digital marketing firm here. Yes, we use AI. It's a fun tool, but it's also just a tool. You have to know how to use it correctly, and there has to be manpower, somebody behind it at least, working to double check that it's doing everything correctly. So you're still probably going to have those underwriters, even though they might have some assistance.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about reviewing your policy. You kind of had mentioned, Josh, you'd kind of mentioned, when people go out and they get a new policy, sometimes they just get on their phone, they download an app and they say, this is good enough. It's a low price and just go with it. What's something that people should be doing when they're thinking about either renewing their policy or looking for a new policy?
That's a good question. It's an open-ended question, really. Some of us, we've been in it so long that we have policies set up the way it is, but the industry does change. So a new coverage that came out under ground service line. Back in our agency at Calvert Johnson, we would see something like that, and we would just add it to every policy because it was $15. We're not adding something that was $150.
Okay.
There's a lot of coverages that people don't know about, but that's when they lean into us that we find it and we can give them that option. We, as an industry, and we go to CE classes and we learn more about the coverages, and we want to give every option to them. You just want to make sure their coverage is right. So when that call comes and they are in need, you want to make sure that you have everything in place to get them back to where they need to be.
I'm sure that depends on the person then too. One person might have slightly different needs than another person when it comes down to these policies, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. How about, how often should somebody review their policy? Example, this is something I just thought of on the fly. I have car insurance. I pay for it. Probably haven't looked at it in 6 years. Mm-hmm. Is that a good thing or not?
No.
Okay.
I think you should probably look at it a little more often than every 6 years.
All right. How often should people be reviewing these?
There's really no great time frame to look at it, but as the car gets older, it's worth less money. You're still probably paying full coverage. Your deductible probably, if you haven't looked at it in 6 years, might be a little on the low side considering how much the car is worth in a total loss. So it's something you look at. I'm a big fan for people looking at it every year. That doesn't necessarily mean you ask your agent to quote it every year. We have a lot of people that want it quoted every year, which is kind of in my opinion, a little bit of overkill. We used to, back in the old days, we'd quote something usually every 2 to 3 years automatically, whether the insured asked for it or not, just to make sure we were still providing the best bang for their buck. If you see a big increase, then we automatically quote it. It used to be a certain percentage, but if we see a big jump, we're going to quote it for you because that's just what we do. We're out to get the best policy for our insured. But as far as an insured, if you see a big jump or have questions, I just said this to a guy this morning that was apologizing for asking me questions on his policy. And I said, you know what? I love it when people actually ask me questions and know what they're paying for. That's great. That's what I want. Keep the questions coming because that's what you're actually paying me for this service. And the ones that don't ask questions usually are the ones that have a loss and then there's a problem. Mm-hmm. because they don't know what they're paying for and there's something that's missed. So the more questions I feel, the better the relationship is with the insured, because you're on the same page then.
Okay.
And they understand what they have. And there's no unanswered questions going into the loss.
That's like the peace of mind for you as
Absolutely.
the insurance company then, or
Yeah.
I guess the insurance agent.
Yeah.
Agent, yes.
Yep.
So I mean, I guess I never even thought about that either. It's like you guys are out there to provide peace of mind to people, but as far as you guys doing your job, the more questions somebody asks, the better you're probably able to help them. Even
Absolutely. Because I mean, we don't know what's going on in people's lives.
Oh, true.
I mean, we don't know what their situation is. I mean, do they have new drivers in the household that we don't know about? Do they have new cars that, there's all kinds of stuff that go on. Usually it's nice when people get their renewal and just call and say, hey, just checking in. Is there anything I should be looking at on my coverage? If we look at something and it takes a couple minutes, we have a couple-minute conversation with them, everything's set, go to the renewal, everything's fine, and we talk to them again in 12 months.
Okay.
I mean, you get a lot covered with insurance in a 5-minute conversation.
Nice. So reviewing more frequently than every 5 to 6 years.
Yes.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah. I'm definitely, I'll just write it down here. I'm going to go do that after I get off work, I think. So we talked about a lot of stuff in here. How about some lesser known types of coverage? I know I don't have a lot of things that need a lot of coverage, but I do know people that have worked in insurance, and sometimes they'll talk about this type of policy or that type of policy. It's like, what even is that? And they're like, well, it's for this, but in case this doesn't insure these types of things, then you're going to need one of these. So there's a lot of different types of policies out there. Maybe to you guys, it's all black and white, but what are some of the different types that people might not know about?
My mind is like going a million miles per hour, but for most people that would be listening to this, right? If you own a home, flood insurance is not included in your homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
Flood insurance is something you can purchase whether or not you're in a high risk zone also. And typically if you aren't in a high risk area, that you're at a higher risk of a flood, it's typically a very inexpensive policy. So I would encourage everyone at least get a quote for a flood insurance policy. We saw the devastation of flooding last summer in areas that would have never been flooded before, so it can happen to anyone. And that's not the time you want to find out, my homeowners doesn't include coverage for that.
All right. That makes me think of like up in Humboldt, there's areas where like it doesn't necessarily it doesn't flood the streets all the way up to the first story window of people's houses, but their basements flood. Mm-hmm. Is this the same type of insurance that would cover that? Or is there like a different type of insurance that might,
well,
or does
like
it depend on how the water got in there?
Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
So for flood insurance, typically to be considered a flood, it's got to affect at least 2 different properties. That's one of the stipulations there. So if you have a water backup in your basement, water backup coverage is something you can endorse on your homeowners, and most often that would be covered there.
Okay.
So that's something to review. We're all going to encourage that everyone listening to this call or this podcast, whatever form, they work with an independent agent, just simply because we can bring this value to you of providing that advice of things like that, that are common losses.
So this comes back to what Mike was talking about. You kind of got to have the conversation so you know what's going to work best for you. And,
yes.
You can't just assume that this says water in it, so everything's covered and I'm good to go. I feel like that's one of the things with insurance is a lot of people just forget that. They're just they see the keyword and they just think this covers everything. Maybe it's I don't want to read 3 pages of what this discloses or what it is, but that's where you guys come in handy. Right. Somebody can come in and ask the questions. And it could be, like Mike said, as quick as like a 5-10 minute conversation. Yep. If you want to sit there for 20-30 minutes and ask questions and make sure you're getting everything done,
Bring it.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I love the endorsement. You guys have a strong local presence here at Kingsgate. One of the things we had talked about earlier was the event you guys had for your 35th anniversary. How do you stay involved in the Fort Dodge community? How do you guys make sure that you guys are an anchor here in Fort Dodge?
Well,
you guys are both to Kingsgate.
Yeah, but you're both involved in the community anyway, and now that's a representation of Kingsgate also. So
I think we're very active with the schools in town, and we've let them know that we have their back. And it's not just advertisement at the Dodger Stadium. It's donating stuff and just being active with them. And we've always been, Mike's a St. Ed's grad. I'm a Fort Dodge Senior High grad. We both spent a little time at Iowa Central, but we always had their back and just really fond of the school system. And that's kind of how we've been involved with the community a lot.
Well, I think it's important if you're going to be a small town business owner, you need to be involved and volunteer. I mean, we've been involved with the Chamber and now the Growth Alliance and the Community Foundation and the hospital board, and there's just ways to be involved, and you have to be. I mean, that's the how Fort Dodge has been Fort Dodge and stays the community it is you can't just turn your back towards these nonprofits that need your help and the school systems that need your help to, not just go to the events. You got to roll your sleeves up and help with these events, and not just financially. I mean, you need to put in the hours too. And I think Kingsgate does a great job at volunteering at events too. I mean, financial's awesome, obviously, but you need to also volunteer labor too.
I think that's one of the most beneficial parts about companies donating something to another company or to an organization of sorts is the financial, like you said, the financial portion is great, but sometimes people don't see that. You know, like it's like, okay, your name's on a billboard at Dodger Stadium, but like they don't know what the dollar amount attached to that was. And sometimes people are just like, I'm just making up a number. Let's just say it's like $10,000 you donate. And it's just like, sometimes there's just like a disconnect. People are just like, that's not real money, or like it's from a company, so it's not as big a deal if it came from a person. But the man hours, like putting boots on the ground and having people, like you said, roll up their sleeves and help out at these events is definitely, that's what people see. I feel like that's what people really key in on. They see somebody with a Kingsgate polo on, and they're like, hey, somebody from Kingsgate was here, and they'll recognize that more than, maybe more than just having a sign in the outfield at a baseball stadium or something like that.
Yep.
That's really important. We had mentioned teamwork. Chelsea, you even had mentioned teamwork, like internally. Mike, you kind of had talked about externally, like communicating with maybe your clients and customer base. And Chelsea, you were talking about internally, you guys there kind of work as a team. How important is teamwork for you guys to, let's just say, get the job done?
Very important. It's probably the number one aspect, and we are coming from a smaller team at Calvert and Johnson, and now dealing with a lot bigger team and more expertise in different areas. And it's been a big help. I don't think we were doing anything wrong at Calvert Johnson, but it's definitely a big help having that many people around you, and nobody balks when there's something to be done. If something's being lacked on, or somebody's gone for vacation or something, it's big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from day one, I work most closely with Josh on a day-to-day basis. And like from day one, you've just been like, what can I do? What can I help with? And that's been a huge release valve for just everything that's coming in for the personal lines department. Everyone who's got maybe a lot on their plate with, I've had a lot of requests for quotes this week. And Josh is like, let me call them. Give me what you got and I'll call them for you. And just something like that is just, I know to you it might seem simple, but to that person that you're helping, I know it's a huge relief.
Mike?
And I think one of the biggest things for us when we started talking to Ryan and Donovan about the merger and for them to purchase our agency was we were quite a bit smaller than Kingsgate. And it was the team atmosphere and being able to provide our clients with a better opportunity for better quotes. I mean, we went from being able to quote with like maybe 3 or 4 companies to 10. I mean, it was just such a better fit for our clients. That was the biggest draw for us actually on our personal lines, was to be able to provide a better product for our clients. And part of that is the teamwork side of it. I mean, we came from an office of 5-6 people to low 20s instantly. And the service aspect we didn't have bad service, but it just, when you go from 5 to 20, obviously you're just going to ramp that up. Mm-hmm. And it's all because of the teamwork. I mean, everybody just gets along, and it's like a well-oiled machine. Everybody just fine tunes it. Where we came from, everybody did everything. And now we're kind of branching out to where you're just kind of focused on one area where these guys do kind of personal lines. I'm on the commercial side. We have benefits people, and you just really hone in on a product and you just do it really well. And your team does it really well. And I think that just enhances what we can do for our clients.
That's awesome. That's also got to be like an efficiency measure though, too. If you're offering 10, 20 different, agencies to people, it's got to take you a long time to go through all those, I mean, like you had mentioned, Josh, like you might know like this one might be best for you, or these 3 or 4 might be the best ones to choose. You still kind of got to go look through everything, and if you're going to have that much of a choice, it's like, yeah, I could go through and do everything here, but if I specialize, it'll actually probably be an efficiency matter, and then possibly come down to helping out the client, in that aspect too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I've been trying to toss like a fun question in here every now and then, and we're getting close to the end, and this is kind of where we just cut loose a little bit. So here's the question that came up for this one. Maybe I should like make these all the same. I don't know, but these I've just kind of been tossing them in on the last few episodes. If you could give yourself advice, career advice at a younger age, what advice would you give yourself? Maybe we'll start over here with Josh.
We'll start with Mike.
All right, let's swing it over to Mike. You can tell you two have worked together.
Yeah. Well, we actually went over this question yesterday, but we would have to cut that answer out. I guess if I had to give myself career advice at a younger age, I would probably say I'm not sure I would do anything different. I hate to say that, but in spite of my father, when I said I would never get into insurance and ended up doing it anyway, I kind of knew I would get into this. I just didn't know I'd end up back in Fort Dodge. I started in Omaha, and I loved Omaha. But looking back on it, raising my kids here, we moved back because of our kids, and I don't regret anything. It's just been a great deal. So honestly, I don't think I would change anything.
Wow.
I know that's corny as...
No, that's actually really great. That's a fun story because, I mean, everybody has like regrets in their life, and to know that like in one window of your life, you're like, I think I did this portion of it correctly. That's got to be such a good feeling.
I mean, it all just kind of, I never imagined living here because I was an adjuster and no adjusters live here. I was a commercial lines adjuster. Nobody lives here in Fort Dodge to do that because there's no business. But then I got the call about being an agent, taking over my dad's book, which was kind of cool. I worked with him for a little bit, which was awesome. And it just kind of worked its way. And my kids were here, and here I am 30 years later, still doing it. So it kind of worked out. So I don't know.
That's fun. Chelsea, how about you? Anything that you would change as far as how you've done it so far?
I would tell myself not to underestimate myself. Because from the get-go, starting off, meeting Donovan and then working closely with him and Ryan, and then Ryan's parents, Ed and Denise, were both working full-time. They're the ones that started Kingsgate.
Glad you said that. I was going to try and fold it in.
Yeah. So they have been, I know it sounds like cheesy, but they have been like another family to me. I moved to Fort Dodge not knowing anyone other than my husband and his family. So they've really made Fort Dodge start to feel like a home right off the bat. And they were always encouraging me to, why don't you try taking your test to become licensed? I think you would do well with that. And then you can talk to customers about more stuff. And then it was encouraged to get another designation, which is essentially just diving deeper into some more classes and education and getting another designation on my resume or business card. And it's been like that the whole time and it continues to be that way. And not just for me, but for everyone at Kingsgate. But I did it, Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, what? Insurance? But no, I would just say don't underestimate yourself.
I'm sure it's got to feel cumbersome because, I mean, I bet there's a lot of people listening to this that are like, yeah, insurance is kind of overwhelming. That's why I have an agent. That's why I go talk to them, and like, I'm sure working in it was the same deal where you're like, I don't know about this. And then I'm sure it's like most jobs. Once you start working in it for a while, you're like, yeah, I could get this, you know, and then you start to just be comfortable with it. And before you know it, it's all second nature.
Yeah. And just like anything else, it's impossible to know everything. So you're constantly learning, which I think makes it fun. It's not ever going to be boring. And like the teamwork thing, you can always turn around and ask somebody, because there's somebody, chances are somebody in the office knows the answer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Josh.
Career advice when I was younger?
Yeah.
Honestly, it would probably be believe in yourself. And really, I had a lot of professions before I got into this. And my dad asked me years and years before I had moved back from Arizona to get into it, and I didn't. I did a couple other jobs. And like I said earlier in the show, that, you know, until I was getting married and was going to have a family, I needed to provide for them. But I was nervous. You know, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can be in this industry. I'm not smart enough. But just dial back, learn it, and present it the way that you can. So I think that's what I would have told myself years ago.
I think that's good advice for anybody, honestly. Any industry, for anybody. I mean, like, I feel like that's kind of what you touched on a little bit, Chelsea, as well. Is it's just sometimes it's just the unknown is just kind of a little bit scary at first. Then after a while, you're like, I get this. You know what? This isn't as scary as it used to be. This has been such a great episode, getting to know you guys and you know, getting to know the insurance industry a little bit, you know, more. Like I said, I've had very little dealing with the insurance industry. I don't have a whole lot of things that need insured. The closest I had was when I was an underwriter for home loans. I got to see like home insurance policies every now and then, but this has been really good. So I'm going to put all the links down below for all the Kingsgate stuff. So if you guys are looking for Josh, Chelsea, or Mike to talk to them, click on the links, send them a message, swing by the office. Again, that office is really cool looking. So that's something that's really kind of neat. I always just think it's like right next door, and you walk in the front door and it looks really cool. You guys have that neat front entryway. I don't know. I dig it. So let's get down to the last question. I ask everyone this question, and this one gets a lot of different answers. So has marketing impacted your life in a way where you didn't realize it until afterwards? And that could be either, you know, working in the insurance industry, or, you know, maybe you're just driving around and an ad pops up on a podcast. Anyway, anybody got the first take on this one?
Okay. Do you guys remember the Got Milk campaign?
Absolutely.
Okay. Why was I totally convinced as a kid that like just everyone just drinks a ton of milk? And it's because of that. Because then becoming a mom, you realize, well, you really don't need that much milk as an adult, but why? We all think that now because of that. They did a great job with it.
Oh, they did. Here's a fun marketing tidbit for you. Google me, roast me in the comments if I'm wrong. However, the reason they chose Got Milk for the slogan was they were going to utilize milk.com as their like hub, but somebody back in the boom of the 90s had bought milk.com and they didn't want to get rid of it. They said, if you want to buy this, we'll sell it to the milk industry for an astronomical amount of money. Right. And they were just like, we'll just make a new thing. And they marketed Got Milk instead and bought gotmilk.com and just pivoted. And that's why everything leaned that way and ended up working out for them. And I think milk.com might still be there and for sale as the person had hosted it for like 30 years now. Wow. Double check that maybe, but yeah, there's a little fun little tidbit. Josh or Mike?
I can't really think of anything.
No, I can't either.
You guys are impervious to marketing.
Not really. I mean, I could sit here and tell you the commercials that I gravitate towards, like on TV and stuff, would be like the funny, progressive ones, the stuff that's just off the wall, that you remember that name. You remember Flo. You know, you remember those people.
The gecko.
Yeah. I always thought the gecko was funny.
Yeah, and which is weird that it's insurance. And those are the ones we gravitate towards. But
I was thinking Aflac Duck, which is weird because that's also insurance.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you guys have
Chaos Guy, what is that?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So,
I didn't think about that.
But those are the ones I gravitate towards and remember the most, I guess.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Most of the commercials, I mean, like, our producer over here knows every now and then I'll just pop my head out of the office and be like, you guys remember this commercial from the 90s? And I make them YouTube it. And they're like, this is insane. And it's like, yeah, I don't know why I remember this, but usually it's funny. And that's why I remember it. And sometimes I'll remember exactly what the product was and exactly what the company was, even 30 years later, even if it's a defunct item or a defunct company. And it's like, wow, that did work really well, actually.
They did a good job.
Mike.
You know, now you say it, I think all the ones I think are funny are the ones that are like insurance related. And I guess I never even really thought about that.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. It makes me wonder
Bias, apparently.
it makes me wonder if like one company had an idea, was it whatever, Geico or what
Yeah.
was there one company that was like, we started this and now everyone was just like, we'll follow suit because
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Are we going to get some funny Kingsgate commercials?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
How do you
boy.
make insurance funny, right?
Yeah.
Or interesting?
Yeah, somehow they did it though, right?
Yeah, they
Because
did.
insurance is a very serious matter, but like
Yeah.
that's if they can, play it off with a little bit of a joke, that's fun. So be looking for the Kingsgate TikToks. They'll be coming out really soon. I gotta say, Josh, Chelsea, Mike, this has been really fun actually. It's weird because you guys are our neighbors. I see you guys walk past to go to the parking lot, or when you're coming into work. Depending on whether or not I come in earlier, I stay a little bit later, and it's just fun because now I actually I know you guys now.
For sure.
So
Nice.
now I'm going to stick my head out the door and yell hi every time you walk by.
Please
so get ready
do.
for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We quote auto insurance too, that we can look at that for you.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I'll
Check it.
I'll swing.
Well played.
I'll check it out tonight, and I'll swing over tomorrow on my lunch break.
There you go.
I got to talk to you, Josh. Right?
That's fine.
All right. You guys, thank you so much for this. This has been really fun. Again, all the links are down below for Kingsgate, so be sure to check them out. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.